Welcome to Homemaking with Mima. If you're new here, my name is Wendy. In today's video, it's going to be part 2 of the frugal meals. I had done a previous video on it, and this is going to be part 2 of that home economics brought back. All right, folks, so this video is going to focus a lot more on the chicken drumsticks that I had purchased and the meals that I was able to make from those. So I hope that it helps alleviate some decision making if you're in need of knowing what to make for dinner. So I hope this helps. So now we're going to continue with the frugal meals. Again, I'm going to pretend this is what I had for leftovers from my roast that I had. And I'm going to split this up amongst 2 of my small crock pots because I really just don't want to get a big crock pot out today. I usually have to set it over where my mixer goes, and I just want to get things cleaned up. Put my mixer back where it belongs. I've had my canner sitting there for quite a while, so because I've been doing some canning. So I'm just going to split this up, and this is going to be all the meat that we're going to have and that's going to be plenty. I'm kind of breaking up the big chunks so that it makes it spread further. All right, not going to waste any of that juice. All right, let me rinse my hands here, and I want to split up the gravy. Should have got a spoon out, but I didn't have a spoon out. I got my spoon. Okay, so there's just this much gravy. I'm going to put that into this as well. Use it up. There's that. And I've got carrots and potatoes. Now you don't have to use the canned. I'm using them because that's what I have on hand. I do have fresh carrots and I do have fresh potatoes, but I want to get these. I want to use these. And this, if you use fresh, put it in now for sure, because you're gonna want that to cook all day long. This isn't gonna cook that long. This is only gonna cook for, possibly 2 hours here. So I'm feeling confident enough that I can put the potatoes and carrots in without them breaking up so much. Now, there's going to be an added starch. This is an added starch. This is going to be titled Beef and Barley Stew. But to bulk it up, to make it stretch, I threw potatoes in there. All right, now let me get my hands rinsed up again, and I'm going to get the broth in there. So when I made broth, I got this huge container of broth, and I've had it sitting in my refrigerator. So I'm going to get it stirred up, and I'm going to get what I can in here into each one. What I have for leftovers, I'm going to be putting into my freezer. And then when I can broth, I can bring this out, and this can be part of the canning that I do. Let me stir this up because it'll make more room. I'm not putting the barley in yet. I'm going to let this heat up really good. Like I'm going to cook it on high. That way then I will grab my barley here. So here's my leftover barley. If you don't have barley, you know what? Leave it out. Just call it beef stew. Because it's pretty much what it is. It's only called beef and barley stew because you add the barley. But I had this left over, and I'm trying to be frugal myself. Now this only gives directions for the lowest for 1 cup of barley for a big batch. So I'm only going to be putting in probably for these small crock pots 2 tablespoons of barley, and that's going to soak up a lot of the broth as well. But it's too early to put that in. It won't take long for this to cook because this is quick cooking barley. So I will bring you back when this is completely done. And I save these containers and I put things like my beef broth in there instead of buying containers. Have done it for years. They're already food safe because I had food in them. And once they get a little wore out, about once a year I go through and I discard, I recycle, ones that are wore out, because we do go through, a lot of these food items and we get a lot of the containers. So I do recycle them. But now I'm just gonna label it month and the year. I don't put the date, the actual date. This is going to go into my freezer downstairs for future stock, for uses for, something like this. Let's say I decide I want to have beef stew or beef and barley stew again. I can do this exact same thing, and I've already got beef stock made from bones from a roast that we had already eaten previously. Being frugal. It turned out extremely awesome. It was a cool evening. Worked out great. I had homemade bread and crackers with it, and the family loved it. All right, I am in need of a few items, and one of the items is the chicken drumsticks that I had purchased before in the freezer department that are under $5. And I am in need of that because I am doing some meals with it. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And I will bring you along if I can. If not, I'll just take a photo of the actual price of the product. And we're going to see how many meals I can squeeze out of that. All right, let's get going here. Okay, I am done shopping, and you will notice I'll insert the price of those chicken drumsticks. They no longer at my Walmart are carrying the drumsticks that are under $5, which they just had last month. Apparently they've taken up the space for more of the chicken breasts, so I had to go to the actual meat department. So the ones I got were under $6. So yeah, I had to pay a little bit more, but we're gonna go with it. All right, I'm gonna head home. Okay, I cleaned the chicken drummies. I'm going to throw them in the oven and I'm going to roast them, and then I'm going to pull all the meat off of them, and we'll see how much I get from this pack. They're nice thighs. I'm not gonna argue that at all. In fact, there's quite a few of them there. Pretty darn big. I'm not going to season them. I don't know if I said that or not. I'm not going to season them with anything. I'm going to pretend like I don't have any seasonings, not even salt and pepper. They'll be okay though. Well, folks, I've got some things set out here on my kitchen table. Here's that chicken that I prepped for myself for some meals here. And I got some containers. I'm going to be dividing it up. One of the meals we're going to have is chow mein. And all I do is I use the stir fry vegetables, and I use a couple gravy packets. We have the chow mein noodles. And then instead of buying rice, most people don't do just regular rice. I mean, you certainly can. But I just got this Knorr's flavored rice here. It's already got the flavoring in it. So that's one meal. Another meal is going to be, you know how you have homemade hamburger helper? This is homemade chicken helper. that's what this is going to be. And I don't know how many pans I'm going to fill up. I don't want a huge pan. I just want smaller pans. And this is all that I have available right now because I do have other freezer meals in my freezer that I've prepped ahead of time. Over here, we're going to do some chicken noodle soup. I don't have any of the Amish noodles, but I certainly have some thin spaghetti noodles. So that is what's going to be put into there. And I have celery, I have carrots, I have a little bit of onion that needs to be used up. And I didn't taste the broth that I had made from the bones. So just in case, if you have any kind of beef broth or chicken broth, bouillon, chicken bouillon, any of that, put into your soups and stews to help give it more of a flavor. So that's my plans with that chicken that I got, the 5 pounds of chicken that actually ended up being 1 point something. You know where I'm going from. Some sweet treats. I had purchased these, a while back, and I'm going to make some. They only make 6 muffins. I didn't realize that. I thought they made more for a good hearty treat. So these are going to be pretty much a treat for us at home here. If I do anything for church, I do plan on making some Hershey's chocolate cake. I have some Hershey's cocoa powder. I do have a video out on that. I'll put that in the description box below. But I plan on making a few of those ahead of time. And that way it's just an easy dessert for me to just grab and bring to the church and or donate to someone who is in need at our church as well. But I've been making our homemade bread. And I'll put that in the description box below. And I've been doing the oatmeal cookies and the Jif peanut butter cookies. And that's been our sweet treats and our bread so far. Now, granted, we do give in and we will buy some sourdough bread because that is actually quite our favorite of all time. But this is a good substitute for bread at home. So I've been cutting costs in my own home as well. So and I'm not getting any extra help outside of the home other than our incomes. But I've always lived frugally, and I want to put it out there. Just try to live frugally and use what you have. And again, I've mentioned it. Just learn how to cook a little bit more for your family, and that will save you money as well. Okay, so I am going to be making this, and I just thought I'd let you. I haven't bought these things in years, so I totally forgot, but there is the batter. And it says 1 egg, quarter cup of milk. If you don't have milk, you know what? I don't think it's going to hurt anything at all to put water in it. Preheat oven to 400. Cook for 12 to 15 minutes. To the last drop, that made exactly 6. All right, here's a closer look again. I did spray my muffin papers. I will bring you back when they are done being cooked. All right, here they are, hot out of the oven. Gonna let them cool off. It's easy for me to just take a fork and guide it along the side to pick them up to get them out of there. They smell really good. A really nice, quick, sweet treat. So I have the chicken split up into 3. We'll see what we can get. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to make some of this chicken noodle soup because I can freeze that and pull it out when we do want to have it. And today I have time to make it, so today is going to be the day for that. I think we might have some leftovers for supper tonight. I didn't really look in my refrigerator that well. So if not, then we'll end up having the chicken noodle soup for supper then. And then whatever leftovers we do have, we can either eat them or we can freeze them for later. So here it all is. This is gonna be our chicken soup. And I have the thin spaghetti noodles that I've already had in the cupboard. So I'm gonna saute the vegetables. I'm gonna get just a little bit of butter for that. And then once they're done being sauteed, I'm gonna get this lovely gelatinous chicken broth in there. And I believe I'm probably gonna end up putting some of the bouillon in. And this I had on hand, it was in my refrigerator. And then this is the amount of chicken that we're gonna have in there, and the noodles will come later. Okay, I believe that all the vegetables in that are cooked. I tasted it, burnt my mouth. So I'm gonna bring this up to a boil. And I don't have any of the Amish noodles that I like to use for the soup, but you know what? I have these thin spaghetti noodles, and that is exactly what I'm going to use in here. I will be breaking them up into smaller pieces. As soon as it comes to a boil, it looks like it has already. So just gonna break them up. About that size noodles there. You don't need special noodles for chicken noodle soup when you make homemade. I might want a little bit more. We like noodly. It'll probably end up turning into a set of chicken noodle soup, but it turned into chicken noodle soup. All right. So now we'll just get those noodles cooked, and we have one more meal down. We won't be eating this today. I just had more time today to get it cooked. And so once it is cooked, I am going to put it in the refrigerator. We're supposed to have some cool temperatures come in. Not really sure if we're gonna have any snow, but we have some cool temperatures coming. And what I mean by cool, I mean it's gonna dip down into the 20s coming up here. So this would be perfect. This chicken soup looks absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. It's gonna be really, really good. All right, for the meal that I'm making today with the chicken that I had deboned from those drumsticks is going to be like, you know, like a hamburger helper. This is going to be like chicken helper. It's going to have the chicken. I've got 2 gravy packets. I have about a 1/4 cup of sour cream, can of cream of chicken soup, about a half a box of the 16-ounce box of elbow noodles, some cheese that's going to go inside of it. And on top of it, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder. I'm not going to put any salt in it because this is salty and this is salty. We can salt when we go to eat it. All right, I'm going to get this together and I'll show you when I'm done making the hot dishes. I am in the process of going to be making this chicken hot dish. And while I was digging through the refrigerator, I had threw these buns in there so they didn't go bad. These buns have to get used up like tonight. So I've made made them before. We're gonna have bun pizzas, and what you do is you just toast up the bun. You open it up, split it open, and toast it up. Put whatever fixings you want on there, and top it with cheese. Cook it in the oven, and you've got little mini handheld pizzas. And you're not wasting food. You're making you're using up things that need to be used up, which is what I need to do. My point was to have one of the hot dishes because I know I'm going to get 2 out of here. We'll just see how much meat I have. I don't want to stretch it too thin and make it all macaroni. But I know I'm going to get 2 of these size. They're smaller. You know, here's the size of my hand here. I don't have very big hands. This will feed 3 of us for sure. This will probably only feed 2 people. But there's times where my daughter doesn't eat, so, or it's just her and I because my husband is doing something and he's going to be going hunting. So this pretty much probably will be a meal for my daughter and I. All right, well, I'm going to get this hot dish made and I will be putting it in the freezer. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this. All right, so let's get this together. I made 2 packets of gravy already. I might not use it all. If I don't use it all, I will be using some of it for the chow mein that I'm going to be making. But these were just those gravy packets. I cooked up my elbow noodles. This is what I've got. I got quite a bit. So I'm not going to use all of it. And I'll show you what I'll do with the rest of it if I don't use it up, which I know I'm not going to. So this is how much meat I have. So I'm going to get that in there first. And see what I need for noodles. All right, so I put in the chicken. It was probably about a cup and a half of chopped chicken. I put in the sour cream, which that pretty much equaled out to be a quarter of a cup. Just I could tell by eyeballing it. Now for the seasonings, I'm not going to go heavy. I'm not putting any salt in it at all because the cream soup has salt in it and the gravy has salt in it. So I'm going to go a half a teaspoon for the onion powder, garlic powder, maybe a little under the garlic, like a quarter. Garlic's pretty potent. It wants to go good today. And a full teaspoon of the parsley. So far it's looking like this, okay? So now we're gonna get some of this gravy in there, and I'm not putting it all in there. So I'm gonna measure it for you. I am going to go so 2/4 is a half, so 3/4 of a cup of gravy so far, okay? So let's remember that, 3/4 of a cup of gravy. I'm gonna get that mixed in. Now to make this stretch, you can add green beans You can add corn, like a half a can of corn, half a can of green beans, or frozen. Frozen would probably work better because then they wouldn't break up of the green beans. Corn, that doesn't matter. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as it is. So then I've got my measurement, a cup. So there's 1, and they're heaping, 2. So there's 2 cups of macaroni, and I can definitely use more. Three cups of macaroni. I'm going to use 1 more. So 4 cups of macaroni cooked. It's the cooked was already cooked. That's going to be a substantial amount. I'm going to put some cheese in there. Just do that with, eyeball that. Just a good sprinkling. I'm going to want it a little bit more creamier. So there's another 1/4 cup. So now, so far, I've got a whole cup in there, and there we go. Almost that whole packet. I'm just not going to put the whole thing in there. I can use the rest for that chow mein. I want it creamy, but I don't want it overly creamy. So I'm going to get rid of this, set it aside. Let me get some of this cleaned up and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so here is a closer look of what it looks like. It's the chicken cream soup, a little bit of sour cream, the gravy mix, and noodles and some cheese and some seasoning. That's it. All right, then we're gonna top it with cheese. I would use mozzarella, but I want to save that for the pizzas that we're having tonight. I do have plenty of the cheddar. All right, let me get this all cleaned up and get some foil on the top of it. Since I have plans, we're going to be eating up those buns. We're going to make pizzas out of them, and I'll bring you along for that as well, to show you. I turned these into freezer meals for ourselves. We're not going to eat it just quite yet. I'm sure in one of my What We Ate for Dinner episodes, one of these will be coming out. To go over quick what I used. So I ended up I cooked up the rest of that macaroni. I used 4 cups of that, of the cooked macaroni, a can of cream of chicken soup, a 1/4 cup of the sour cream. I cooked up 2 packets of the chicken gravy. I only used a cup and 3/4 of that gravy. So I have a 1/4 of it left. The chicken, I guesstimated it to be about 1.5 cups. It wasn't finely chopped, but it wasn't huge chunks. And the seasonings, put in what you want for seasonings. I put onion powder, garlic powder, and parsley. I believe that's it. Cheese, and I got cheese, okay, because I had cheese in my refrigerator. So, all right, another frugal meal. It's going to feed us in the future. I'm being frugal and I'm using up the buns, so that's good on my part. All right, I'm going to get these put away in the freezer, and then I will bring you back for when I do the pizzas. And then after that, then I'm going to be doing the chow mein. We have the chicken noodle soup we're going to be eating up, and I'll be doing the chow mein as well. And then we'll have that to eat up, so we'll have leftovers after that. I won't bring you for leftovers. but I will bring you along for when I do make up the chow mein. It's just really simple. It's extremely not hard at all. All right, off I go down to the freezers. So I have the leftover macaroni here, and I'm gonna freeze this portion because I am just not gonna eat that much macaroni salad. That's what I've got going on here. I shredded up some carrot, chopped up some celery that I had, put in a little bit of this celery salt because my daughter had gotten it and it needs to be used up. And this time I'm just going to use bottled Italian dressing. That's it. These are just quick lunches for myself. I like to eat cold lunches, you know, when I go to work and that. So this works out great. I'll probably add more before I take it to work. I'm gonna taste. Really good. All right, I've got a container for this. Should all fit in there. So I have a couple lunches here for myself as well. So that's gonna work out nice too. Being frugal, I had all that macaroni to use up. So I just cooked it all up. It was about half a box of macaroni. And I made the casserole out of it. I've got some salad here for myself for a couple days, probably 3 days. This is leftover macaroni. I'm not a big fan of freezing macaroni, but you know what? In this case, I'm gonna have to because I don't have any plans for the rest of this. So in the freezer it goes for future whatever ideas. All right, so I'm gonna get this put in the refrigerator and I'm gonna move on with my day. Okay, so I'm gonna get ready to get these little mini bun pizzas cooked up, toasted them, so the buns don't get soggy. I went downstairs and I got some of my canned pork and I shredded it and I put some of the barbecue sauce in there with it. And then we're just gonna have plain pizza sauce with cheese. And that's going to be our little mini pizzas for tonight. So I have the chicken noodle soup in the crock pot sleeves. We have it on low, and we're just gonna wait for it to get finished, and then we'll have supper. For the chicken chow mein, my version, we're going to be using the chicken, which is going to equal out to about a cup and a half, I want to say, just like it did for the other ones. 2 packets of chicken gravy. I only got one here because I started to make it and I'm like, oh, I need to show. The stir-fry vegetables is what I use, and I strain them and I rinse them off because I just don't like the flavor of the water that they're in. Here's the chow mein noodles that we're going to use to eat it with, and then also chicken flavored rice. If you don't know how to cook rice, regular rice, or if you don't have a rice cooker or any of that, these work out great. The instructions are on the back, and I make them all the time as well. But I also make rice, but I use my Instant Pot. All right, I'm going to get this together. So in this saucepan, I got the 2 packets of gravy mix, 2 cups of water. Just follow the instructions on the back. And I'm going to make this, and then I'm going to put my chicken into it, and then the vegetables as well. And I'll bring you back for all of that when I'm ready for it. So the gravy is coming together. What I'm going to do is, I have that leftover gravy from the other day when I made the chicken hot dish. I'm going to put that in there as well. Turning my temperature down a little bit. All right. I did measure it out. It was almost 2 cups. So I want to say each one of those were about 2 cups of chicken. That's not bad at all. I was just curious, so I measured it out. Okay, so in goes the chicken. You can add some soy sauce if you want it, you know, the gravy to look a little darker, give it more of, you know, the Asian flair taste. We're okay with it. We put soy sauce on at the table because I don't like as much as my husband does. So, all right, so there's the vegetables. Like I said, I drained them and then I rinsed them because I don't care for the water that's on them. So now I'm going to heat this through, and we can serve it over the rice with the crunchy noodles. And I'll bring you back for that. Hopefully, I've been really bad at bringing you end results here. So So that's going to wrap this video up. I hope it was helpful to 1, 2, 5, 10 people. Giving some ideas, suggestions of what to have for dinner, eating frugally. If you like this kind of content, folks, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, and that's going to prompt you to new videos that are coming out. And I want you folks to make it a really great day.